to have to go through this again here?
I mean, it's hard to explain, especially when you feel like you have such a good chance of, going all the way. I mean, it's 10 out of 10 in terms of, if you want to talk numbers of disappointment. I mean, it's 2 days later and it still doesn't feel any better.
Why do you feel like this team hasn't been able to make that next step? I mean, maybe there's not an easy answer to it, but
if I had the answer, we wouldn't be, going through this situation year after year. We really got to find a way to fix things and find a way to win at this time of the year and make sure that doesn't happen again. I know it sounds redundant. I feel like we say that every year, but sooner or later it's got to change.
What do you think the biggest thing to fix is?
We got to find a way to get out of the first round, first of all. I mean, that sounds easy, but like I said to him, if I had the answer for it, we wouldn't be going through this. I mean, we want to sit here and figure out what the problem is, and unfortunately, we have a lot of time to do that, and we ended a little bit too early.
Army had a comment that was pretty memorable last year, saying that we need to, stick the knife in their eye. Do you think the killer instinct's there? Or here we are a year later, still talking about it?
It has been, especially in the regular season. There's a reason why we win the division this year. We just got to find a way to translate that into the playoffs. I mean, we have that instinct all year where when we have teams down or we're down, we find a way to get back and win the hockey games. So why it's not translating into the postseason, that we need to figure out.
And I know the Wild did a good job of locking down once they got a lead, but it just didn't seem like you guys were doing a lot of pressing or trying to catch up.
It's playoffs. It's not easy to, score goals. At least it shouldn't be. It's not easy to, play catch up. We had to find ways to get up early in games, and credit to them, they played well. But at the same time, we didn't play the way we need to play.
Alex, the last few off seasons they kind of tweaked the roster, but do you feel like now 3 straight first round exits, does there have to be maybe a larger overhaul? Even though some of these guys in here are your best friends and your brothers, but do you feel like there just needs to be a change to try to change the outcome of the playoffs?
That's not up to me. That's up to Army. You can ask Army that question. I love all these guys in this dressing room like they're family members. I mean, I'm not going to comment on that.
One of the things you talked about during the regular season, you guys came back from a lot of deficits. You weren't able to do it in playoffs. What sense is there on the bench when you guys fall behind?
Trying to do the same thing you did in the regular season. You're not always going to be leading in hockey games. I mean, that's the reality of the playoffs. I mean, it's going to push you to the edge if you want to win. During the season, we find ways to get through it. In playoffs, it's obviously harder. There's more desperation on both sides, and it's not easy to play catch-up hockey.
Alex, with the nature of a series where you're facing the same team, possibly 7 times, do you feel that they're able to figure you guys out and adjust faster on the fly compared to, during a regular season you'll face the team once and then there'll usually be a couple weeks before you face them again. Do you feel like they're able to adjust?
There's adjustments on both sides. I mean, every game changes. That's why you win one, you lose one. And almost every series was like that. It was just a matter of who got the game plan quickest and who stuck with it the longest. And, it wasn't us.
Hitch said late in the series that he thought you had been the Blues' best player. How did you feel about your game?
Would have felt a lot better if we would have won, but I just try and lead by example, try and go out there and play as hard as I can, and try and help that team win. I mean, it's not always going to be, on the stat sheet, but my ultimate goal is whatever the coaches need. I think a lot of guys felt that way. Whatever the coaches need you to do, you do.
Do you think it was a step for you, though? I mean, obviously you played well in the past, but it seemed like you were jumping into everything and kind of taking charge a little bit.
Oh, that's what I was trying to do. Like I said, trying to lead by example. Had to play a lot of offensive situations just because, like I said, you're playing catch-up hockey. At the same time, we had a lot of guys who did a lot of little things that helped us create some opportunities. But like I said, when you're playing catch-up hockey, sometimes you're not always playing the way you want it.
When you get in a postseason situation and it looks different, is there a big degree of heightened or pressure with what's going on? Everybody kind of knows the history of what's happening, or is that totally divorced from what's going on out there?
Every year's a new year. I mean, we know what's happened in the past going into this year, and you don't want to repeat it, but there's a lot of teams who go through a lot of things and find a way to win eventually. And we're going to keep pushing here. We're going to keep pushing within the organization to try and figure this out and not let this happen again. I know we say it every year, but that's the goal, is not let it happen again.
I know it's not your call, but is McCulloch a guy who you think can help this team if he were brought back?
Well, like I said, would bring everybody back if it was up to me, but I'm not the GM. I like all the guys in this room. We have an unbelievable makeup of character in the dressing room. Everybody gets along so well. So, I mean, he's played great since he's been here. It's obviously not easy to adjust coming in. The deadline, I've never been through it, but I can imagine it's difficult. But I thought he did a great job for us.